very much, Har. It's lovely to be here today. I'm really excited about talking to you all for several reasons. First of all, I think it's great that NCBO and Microsoft have come together, and also, most importantly, that there are so many amazing small charities in the room today talking about AI. It shows how AI has become so much more of a priority for us all across the sector over the last 12 months, and I'm really excited about where this conversation could go with us all. Oh yes, sorry. I'm so sorry. Thank you very much. Thank you. Can you hear me now? Good, excellent. And I'm going to come over here as well so I can see some of you lovely people at the back of the room too. So I'm very excited to be here today. And one of the things that I'm going to be sharing with you here today is Har mentioned that we have got the Charity Digital Skills Report 2024 coming out in a few weeks' time on the 11th of July. I have got some stats. Oh, you still can't, can you hear me now? No, maybe there's a, thank you, I think it might be an issue. Oh, that sounds promising. Shall I try that one? Shall I try that one?
Okay.
Yes,
Sorry
of course, no worries at all. Okay, third time lucky with the microphone. Can you hear me now? Yay, hooray, excellent. If the tech is working, I'm happy. Okay, so I'm here today to talk to you about some hand-picked stats from the Charity Digital Skills Report 2024. Some of you will know the report. It's an annual barometer of digital adoption, skills and attitudes, funding and support needs across the sector, including some juicy stats about small charities and AI. So I've got some stats to share with you here today, and I really want to hear from all of you about how some of that data might resonate with you and what your experiences are as well. And then the final reason I'm really happy to be here today is because I began my career in the charity sector working for a small charity for 5 years. And I learned so much during that time. And I really saw firsthand the incredible creative innovation, the knowledge of communities, the resilience that small charities have. And it is those unique qualities that we need to bring to how we embrace AI across the sector. It is that spirit of grassroots innovation which is the magic ingredient in the DNA of small charities. And that's what we need to bring to how we adopt AI together, particularly in the small charity sector, because it's going to help us all collaborate more and grow our impact together. Okay, great. So let's get into some of this in a little bit more detail. So there are 3 things I'm going to be talking to you about today. So first of all, I'm going to give you a bit of a state of play from our report into where small charities are at with AI and how that compares to some of the trends that we're seeing across the sector. Then the second thing is I'm going to talk to you about how AI can work for your small charity. And I've got a case study that I'm going to be sharing with you from a small charity who I think may be in the room today, fingers crossed. And then the third thing is I want to talk to you about where you can go from here. And that's partly about the resources you can use to take your next steps, but also some of the things you might want to consider, some of the advantages that I think that small charities have, that nimbleness, that agility in how you can embrace AI. So we'll talk about that as well. Okay. First of all, I want to hear from all of you. So I'd like to hear, by a show of hands, put your hand up for me first of all if you have used AI. And it could be that you've just tried it. Oh, look at this. That's most of the room. Really good. Lovely. You're in the right place. Excellent. Second question for you. And again, let's just hear a few responses from some of you. How are you using AI? Who's got a really quick example that they can share about how they've used it? Online meeting minutes. Very good. Lovely, lots of people are doing that. Very good, lovely. Any other examples? Back of the room, go for it.
Yeah, I used it to give me an outline to do a marketing and social media strategy.
Excellent, really good. So that's strategy creation. Excellent, really good, lovely. One more example, go for it.
Summarising long answer questions and surveys.
Lovely, yes, so that's summarising and pulling out the key points we were talking about earlier. Excellent, so 3 really good use cases there. Fantastic. So most of the room are using AI, that's great. Hold those thoughts on how many people are using AI and how you're using it as well. And let's see how this compares with some of the trends that we're seeing across the sector. Okay, so these are some of the stats which we have to share with you today from the Charity Digital Skills Report 2024. Now, we'll be doing the full launch of the report on the 11th of July. I've got some data here to share with you about how small charities are adopting AI. And I think there's some really exciting stuff here. So more than half of small charities see AI as relevant to them. I think that's great. That's why we're all here today. And then more than half of small charities are using AI tools. Again, really good news. And in fact, you all in the room here today, judging by all those hands that went up, you're a bit further ahead than some of those small charities. So that's amazing. It shows you're all very much early adopters. That's wonderful. What I am perhaps a bit worried about here is we can see that there is a significant number of large charities who are using AI. And what none of us want to happen is that AI starts to create a digital divide and widens that across the charity sector. Everyone, regardless of size, regardless of cause, should have access to these tools and the resourcing and the guidance to make the most of them. And I hope today will be part of a conversation about that. And then let's talk about barriers, because that's something which we saw in the report as well. Some of those blockers to small charities moving forward with AI. So what we saw here is that, yes, there was a challenge around a lack of skills and also capacity. And again, I think that speaks to the incredible pressures that small charities are under at the moment, with that rising demand for services, those challenges during the cost of living crisis, and again, how small charities need access to the support and the guidance and the resourcing to move forward with AI. And I think this piece about boards and trustees, a perennial issue in charity digital transformation, is certainly something which is coming back again with small charities and AI and across the wider sector as well. We need to see skills as going right up to the boardroom. We need to think about how we can support trustees of small charities to provide the right strategy and scrutiny and support with AI. And in fact, this really resonates with one of the perennial questions that I hear from small charities. Where can I find a digitally skilled trustee? Okay, so let's have a look at a little bit more data. So also in the report, what we have found is that one of the biggest barriers we're seeing right across the sector with AI is about skills and expertise. And that's really being felt right across the world of charities. And we'll have more about this when we come to the full report launch on the 11th of July. And small charities are really typical in that sense, as we can see here. So 48% of charities really feeling that challenge around skills. And we can see here that training to upskill is the second biggest barrier, which is cited by over a third of small charities. And what this says to me is that we need organisations who support small charities to really come on the AI journey with small charities. So we saw on the previous slide that more than half of small charities see AI as relevant. And again, that's why we're all here today. More than half of small charities are already using AI. And that's where we need funders and organisations supporting the sector to provide the right support and guidance and help in order for small charities to move forward with AI. Okay, so on that note, let's have a look and talk about a small charity that's doing some really interesting things in AI. So this is the Speakers Trust. Some of you may have come across them. If not, they are an amazing small charity, and the work they do is supporting young people with developing their presentation and their public speaking skills. And they've been doing some really interesting work in AI, where they've looked at how can we use AI to better understand the difference that we're making. Now, in the world of small charities, and I remember this very well during my 5 years working for a small charity, I used to find that impact reporting was something which became such a challenge. It felt like a real annual chore. You almost start to lose sight of why you're doing what you're doing. And what Speakers Trust did was they have used AI to basically look at their data about their impact in real time, cut out all of the work that goes with that annual reporting, and instead get reports emailed to them every day. Wouldn't that be incredible if every small charity could get real-time data about the difference that they're making? Wouldn't it be incredible if we could use that data about what's going on right now to inform our strategies and think about how we could collaborate even more effectively across the sector? So I think that in itself is super exciting. And what they also find a real challenge within their charity is finding human coaches who are available to actually go out and support young people in schools. So what they've done is they've developed an AI coach who can actually give advice about content and structure and delivery to young people. It doesn't replace the work of a human going into a school and helping young people, but it really augments and supports what they do. And what that says to me is that we can think in the small charity sector about how AI can supplement what we're doing. And that's the really key thing. So there are two things I think we can take away from this. Firstly, what are our pain points as small charities? What are the things that are especially resource intensive and painful? And where could AI potentially help us make that a lot easier? And then the second thing is, I think AI is going to be at its most powerful for all charities if we fuse it to our organisational ambitions and we think about where we can use it to make the biggest difference. Okay, so here's some other ideas for you about how you could use AI as a small charity. Now, another stat hot off the press from our report is that we asked charities about whether they were using AI for writing funding bids, which Ha referred to as well. And I'm really excited to say that 66% of the charities who were using AI for that very reason were small charities. And that is super exciting because that's about innovating, it's about doing things differently, and it's also about solving that classic challenge that we see so often in small charities. And I remember myself from when I worked for a small charity that it can take a tremendous amount of time to write funding bids. So that in itself I think is really exciting. And then, of course, there are other ways in which you can use AI, and we heard a few of those in the icebreaker and also in Ha's presentation earlier. And that can be everything from being more productive, such as meeting minutes, as you were talking about earlier, to generating content, to writing strategies, as we heard about earlier as well, but also acting as an additional member of your team and really building out your ability to come up with innovative ideas. So I hope that gives you some ideas of what else you could do with these exciting technologies. Okay, so where could you go from here? So there are lots of really helpful resources from Microsoft and NCVO. They cover everything from understanding where you're at with AI, but also where you could go next and how to write funding bids. So please do dig into those and have a really good look at what's available. And I'm sure you'll get these slides afterwards as well. And there are also some free resources too from our own organisation, so please do take a look at those. I just want to share a few final reflections on AI and small charities before I wrap up today. Firstly, I think it's really exciting to see from the data from the report that small charities are clearly innovating and doing things differently with AI, and they need the support and the guidance to do that. And I think to truly embrace AI, we need to go back to those unique strengths of the small charity sector that I was talking about earlier. In the early days of lockdown, we saw how the agility and the resilience and the creativity of small charities was the secret ingredient which held communities together during a global health crisis. And we need to bring some of those same strengths through to how we tackle AI. I hope today will be the start of many conversations where small charities and organisations supporting the sector can listen and learn together, and also start to advocate for the change that is needed to help small charities move forward with AI. We need to be ambitious and we need to be bold about how we tackle these technologies. And I look forward to how we can all work together to make that happen. Thank you.